Hey everybody. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because I want to show you a planner that I found that finally does everything I need it to do. If you're like me, you've been through every planner system in the world and there's always something a little bit off. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I failed at and how I fixed them with this new planner that I think is really ideal. First, I'm going to give you a little bit of trivia about why you shouldn't start anything on January 1st. St. Bridget's Day, Groundhog Day territory are really closer to the real new year that humans experience, kind of halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It's when the days start getting longer, the plants come back to life, and that's why you should never start your planner on January 1st. That's why I'm making this video in February. The real start to my year. January is such a waste, and it's also too long, but we'll talk about that later. So here's the planner, and let me tell you what I love about this. It starts with a monthly overview. This is blank before I've set it up, just FYI. And then this feature right here is my favorite. So this feature is a weekday Dutch door, essentially, which I know some of you create by yourself in your journals, your bullet journals. I do as well. But this is a built-in Dutch door that lets me see 5 things. It lets me see the month at a glance on the left. It lets me see each individual day. It lets me see a task list for each day. It lets me see an overall task list for the month. It lets me see a habit tracker, and it gives me a page for notes. I've never had this with a single planner open. I've never had the ability to see all of these things at once. It's unbelievable. And the fact that it's undated is amazing because I can start at the natural start to my year, which is in February, not in January. At the back, there are also some blank pages. There are dot grid pages. There are these grid pages. So if you want to do some bullet journaling, if you like taking notes in a grid, all of that is available at the back of this planner. It's just amazing. But the real beauty of it is that layout that lets you see a month, a week, and a day all at the same time. This is where all of my other planners really failed. And I love the built-in habit tracker. I really do, because I can flip over to that at any time and check off my days. So this is what it looks like blank. In a minute, I'm going to show you how I set it up, and it's so easy, you won't believe it. So first, let me show you some things that did not work for me. I was a Hobonichi person for a long time, and I had several different sizes of Hobonichis. But with Hobonichis, you have to flip back and forth between your daily views. There are different layouts, so you can see I chose this daily one. But you would have to flip from the daily view to the calendar view, or to your overall master list view, or to see these vertical sections, which I also really liked. I'd have to go to the front for all my trackers that I would have. And it just didn't work for my brain. I'm not saying it doesn't work at all. It did not work for my brain. Because there were sections I was not visiting often enough. There were sections I just didn't use because I ended up staying on one page and using it just like a to-do list. I really was using this type of planner as a task list, which you can see. You can see giant lists of stuff that's crossed off. And sometimes if I wasn't ready to go to the next day, like I hadn't finished those tasks, then I would just stay in a previous day, and so then the dates didn't matter. I don't know. I have a squirrel brain. It wasn't working. It just wasn't working. So let me show you how I set this up. So you already saw it blank. This is just my cover page with 2024. I'll put all the supplies that I used for this in the description, but this is not a journal. I'm going to show you some of my journals where I do the more arty things. Like here's a temperature tracker that I'm doing in colored pixels. Every day I do a word of the day, I do a doodle, I record the temperature, I have a list of things I want to try, and these are just kind of interspersed into these daily quick hit pages with a little bit of art thrown in. I also have a podcast journal where I keep track of the podcast episodes that I listen to. This becomes really helpful because I listen to a lot, and sometimes I need to go back and reference some. I also keep a list of podcasts that people have recommended that I want to try, and that's in its own separate journal. So those are more of my bullet journaling. This is my planner. This is the important thing for my work, for personal dates, all of that. That's the only function of this book. So let me show you how I set it up. I have terrible handwriting. It's absolutely atrocious. So I set up that first page that you saw, which is like a monthly overview. It's kind of what are your goals for that month? What are some quick things to remember? And you'll notice that I started in February. So that first tab is February, the natural start to the year. And I'll include some resources below about that concept. But I encourage you to start in February, not in January. And this goes through January, so I'm still using all 12 months. This beautiful tape is how I set up all the headers. I also have number tape. You're going to see this tape throughout. It just helps this planner look like there's somebody who doesn't have the handwriting of a physician. So this is what I did. I have all of these different highlighters, and I've written on the ones that I use for color coding certain things on my calendar, so I can just grab those and color code different tasks. I've just started setting this up, so there's not a lot on it yet. I'm going to finish this weekend. But I want to show you a little trick with the highlighter. If it irritates you that highlighter ink kind of puddles at the end of your line, if you're like me. So I'm drawing this little line and see the little puddle on the right. Just blot it. It goes right away, and then you have a nice smooth line. So blue is for all of my different blog assignments. Then I have a different color for work. I have a different color for split coast. That's how I color code it. And it's a nice visual for me to see kind of how my weeks are stacking up. Then I used the tapes to number these. So these are the actual dates. And this side I just use as like kind of a brain dump for that day. And then on the right, I've used this checklist tape, which I love. I use this stuff in every one of my journals. Run that down the side. And so for each day, I have a specific task list. So these are things that have to be crossed off, whereas on the left, it's a little less formal. Then I have this week just general things that I need to do that maybe aren't necessarily tasks. And then on the right, things that really need to be done this month. So anything that's kind of needs to be turned into a task for February, I just use my dot marker. I write it out there, and then that kind of stays on my radar. But the ability to see my month, my daily brain dump, my daily tasks, things that I need to get done in both a weekly and a monthly format is so powerful for me. It really, really helps me just to have this thing open and be able to see every little thing. Then when I flip, because you get multiple of these Dutch doors, then I have the next week. So the next week is there. The two things on either side are still static. I still have my monthly stuff that needs to get done. I still have my monthly color-coded calendar. I still have a space for notes. It's amazing. I can't tell you what a relief this is. It's such a relief. Then on the back of every month, they include a habit tracker. And you can customize this. It comes blank. So I have some little workout things, some reading things, whether or not I shopped, etc. And I just put a little dot in that circle. It's a great kind of visual way to keep track of spending and habits and all of that. And plus, I don't have to build my own. It's already built into this one. So creating my own layouts was also not something that I was going to do for tasks. I like doing it for fun, like I showed you in my other journal. But for tasks, I really like the planner to do the work for me. It does come with two of these little rulers. One of them, it's funny, one of them says you're here, and the other one says you're also here. And then it has a little scalloped edge, so if you wanted to do any ink blending or tracing, you could do that as well. But like I said, this is my functional book, my actual planner, and it ends in January, which, like I said, is a wasted month, but I still have all 12 months in this planner. It's just starting where I need it to start, which is February. So this works so great for me. I hope that this is helpful to you. I hadn't seen this one before, and I was kind of shopping. I usually do my planner shopping in January. And I was shopping around and found this. It has some really nice big pockets. This one, just FYI, if you go look at this website, this is the mini. So I wanted the smaller format one just because my desk is smaller. So this is a really good size. So I hope you've enjoyed this. All of the links to everything that I'm using is down in the description box below. Be sure and click more. And thank you so much for watching.